That's some groovy music. Listen to that.
I was going for porno noir.
Porno noir. Yeah, I like that. That's a good thought. Oh, man. Oh, we're recording. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to BRB Gaming. We're here today with Jim Gray, one of the custom firmware developers for the Miyoo Mini. We're doing a little bit of a deep dive. So you're here with me, Thor?
Stubbs.
Oh, am I supposed to say who I am? I'm Jim.
Your name.
That's Jim.
I'm
That's
Jim.
Gray.
I'm the guy they mentioned moments ago.
Jim is the developer for one of the developers for OnionOS, as I like to call affectionately Jim OS. Speaks the most to him in our server here, but yeah, he is a dev for this beautiful. I just can't get enough of these jams, man. The menu music. Oh,
I gotta right off the bat correct you. So I'm not really a dev. I put way more work into those songs.
it's all we need, baby.
Jim.
You know, someone actually pointed out, they were like, why the fuck is there songs for every theme? Like, when I boot into Windows 10, it doesn't start playing music on a loop.
Right.
I was like, that's a really good point. I disable it. I made all these songs, and I disable the music, like, instantly.
It doesn't play, like, the Microsoft theme song on a loop.
Right?
The startup sound.
I had never thought of that. I was
90s.
like, man, it is kind of silly that, like, video game consoles think they need music on the menus.
They do. I didn't know
Stubbs,
I needed it until I had it.
Did you get your case yet?
It again.
My cigarette case for the Mini?
No, it's a playing card case.
No, I haven't yet. I want to get one. So what
Yeah,
colors
cigarette cases don't work. They're too narrow.
What's in there? I got the dirty gray.
Yeah, we got the dirty gray.
The dirty Jim
Jim's
Gray.
rocking both. Real captain.
Oh.
You know, someone was actually kind enough. Someone who uses Onion DM'd me and was like, "Hey, I heard you're looking for another one. I don't want mine. I'll sell it to you at cost." And it had a perfect screen protector on it.
Nice.
Came with all the packaging and stuff, and they sold it to me for exactly what I paid for mine. So I was like, "That's wonderful. Thank you."
That's a really good deal. So
I
what do you
love our
think of the
community.
color on that?
What'd you say, Stubbs?
What do you think of the color on that one?
The white one?
Yeah.
I like it. I don't love I've never liked the like European Famicom colors at all. But the white plastic is really nice.
It's nice.
It's like super high quality, and it's got this like very like subtle texture to it. I mean, it's basically the same texture as the gray one, but it's just really like pristine white. It's like the brightest white plastic I've ever seen.
I like it. Yeah.
So that's like
I know
when the
for a fact
console
I'm
came
gonna
out
get
in
it,
1989, and the other color is
Right.
1994, right?
Yeah. This is like before Grandma's house.
That's the PAL. That's the
This is
PAL
like
version.
after Grandma's house for years.
Right.
Couple years at Grandma's.
I think Sean, so Sean Inman, who, I mean, he's like the catalyst for Onion in general, because he like, he gave us the name and the logo, and the whole thing was kind of a joke pun on Union, which is something he's developing, and it just kind of went too far. But he he was talking about retro braiding to see if it like did anything.
Did you say the word retro bread?
Retro braid. It's this like it's kind of like bleach for old console for old plastic. It basically it's really good for getting like old nicotine stains off.
Oh, I want to get.
You can watch some super satisfying videos on YouTube of people cleaning up like old
those older
Nintendos.
plastics.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Had a lot of bromine in them, right?
Yeah.
And so when they got exposed to ultraviolet rays, that's why plastic yellows, is because of the bromine.
Yeah.
And so they do stuff like take hydrogen peroxide paste or just dip it in liquid hydrogen peroxide and put UV lights on it for a couple days, and it brings all of it back without like any scrubbing or anything like that. So it's real nice.
It's pretty amazing. It's also why when you see occasionally somebody who has like an old Super Nintendo that isn't yellowed, they fetch like insane prices, because it means that was probably kept in like a cupboard, like completely unexposed to the elements.
I still have my OG NES, and it's still in pretty good shape because it stayed in the actual NES box.
Yeah.
So
I at my parents' house, so I didn't have an NES, but my dad did. So he still has his with like what's the robot? I forget the robot's name.
Rob?
Was it Rob? Yeah. Have you
There's
ever
like two
seen
games.
those games? It doesn't matter. They're terrible. But
I tried to emulate a Rob ROM on NES.
I think there's
yesterday.
only 2 or 3 of them, and they're so bad.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out how to play. I'm like, how do you emulate Rob in RetroArch?
Well,
How
the
do you
input,
do that?
I don't see how you could possibly emulate
have
the
to,
input,
like-
because the input was like stacking weights.
Yeah, you gotta. How do you make that happen?
So I'm running into a similar issue right now. I was telling Stubbs before. I was telling Thor before we recorded that I've been trying like to emulate just like supremely obscure systems, and one I've been playing with is the Sega Pico. Which had like a touchpad, and it Pico Drive emulates it perfectly, but I cannot figure the inputs out for the life of me.
And that's half the battle. That's like me with Wii. I never know like how to configure like every little motion of the controller, wave of the wand.
Same goes for like all those old UK computers, like the Sharp X68000 and like the ZX Spectrum. Like those games look awesome. They look so fun, and I try to play them, and I'm like, what am I doing wrong?
I just give up. I just give up. That's my.
Once in a while, I get one working. I always try. Anytime a system has Golden
enjoying.
Axe, I'm like, I gotta try it. I gotta see this version of Golden Axe.
Yes. Yeah, just in case. And then like
I just gotta see like if somehow there's a better version than the original or the Sega conversion.
I just have to fire up ActRaiser. Like that's the first thing I go to is how good does ActRaiser look?
Well, ActRaiser is awesome, and it's on like everything. Like it's been ported to fucking eternity, but it's also at the top of the list alphabetically. So that's really awesome for when you're looking for a game to test. I always pick the dumbest games in the middle of the alphabet, and I'm like, oh, I gotta scroll all the way to Golden Axe.
Yeah, I always do A games also. It's either Aladdin or like Apocalypse for PS1. Just
the
keeping
Bruce Willis game.
Classics. Oh yeah, hell yeah! On the Tony Hawk engine.
No, that game's awesome. That game's awesome.
It's legitimately awesome. I'm going to try it right now on my Miyoo Mini. I've never played.
Well, doesn't it require DualShock? I feel like that's one of the very few games that requires DualShock.
Okay, all right. So in Onion Man, how do you? Let's load up. How would
I'm sure we're going to jump around topics a million times, but before we talk about Onion, I do need to just mention that there are some amazingly talented people working on that are not me. There's Christoph, who's also called Totofaki, or however you say it, and they're amazing. They did like all the apps and scripts and the installer and all that stuff. Pixel shifted a ton of the themes and has just been an overall help. And I definitely have to mention Sean Inman because he's just he's a great person, obviously, but his whole design ethos is just really cool, and he's just insanely helpful. He gives everybody like whatever they need to enable their projects. I mean, that's cool. He would never in a million years use Onion because he hates RetroArch and he hates like the kitchen sink approach. And he probably contributed as much as anybody else, and he would never use it. So he's just like just the coolest dude.
Yeah, but who's the guy who put it all together?
I'm like the project manager,
Who operates the GitHub? That's the important part.
Whose GitHub is this on?
Me, and I don't know how, so I just gave Christoph permission.
Christoph, the whole team, congrats, guys. Like this is an awesome operating system. I love it. The cartridge feature is brilliant, but
I can't wait to show you. I have cartridge like 3.0. We skipped 2.0. It's been rewritten from the ground up twice now. And
that's awesome.
The new version is just unbelievable. It like displays a screen preview of like where you left off. It shows like, I don't even know how Christoph got this working, but it shows the exact battery level, which up to this point, I thought it was just increments of 25% was all it displayed. And the curve is all wrong. The low battery light comes on at like 45%. Well, I mean, that's just classic like Miyoo shit. I think the S30 did the exact same thing.
Should we get into the deep dive then? Is it time?
Yeah, let's do it.
I want to talk more Miyoo, but let's segue into the Thor's review here. So Thor, what do we got as far as these tech specs on this? What is this? What is this thing? What is this?
So we've done the 2 Plus and we've done the Odin, right? And the Odin had a ton of things to go over. This not so much. All right. This is designed to be, it's just designed to be the miniest. All right. It's
Smallest.
it's very small, and that's my hand for comparison. Boom. All right. And it fits inside of a case made for a deck of cards. So very small. As far as specs, it's got a 2.8-inch screen. It's IPS, and it's 640 by 480, so it's a really good resolution. You know,
There is some debate about whether or not it's actually IPS. It's sourced from the BlackBerry 9900, apparently.
Okay.
It's literally just an upcycled part from old BlackBerry phones, and according to BlackBerry's tech specs, it's a TFT. But if it is a TFT, it's a fucking gorgeous one.
It's very impressive looking.
There's no way this is a
Especially-
TFT.
Especially when you start messing with colors and saturations and stuff in the actual operating system itself.
Mm-hmm.
So, like right now in RH, one of our game of the months last month was the Minish Cap, right? GBA, and damn, like it just looked great.
I can't believe how beautiful that game looks. I've never played that, and the first time you shrink down and you're like walking under the gigantic leaves and stuff,
Yeah.
it's just like blown away. I couldn't believe how good a Game Boy Advance game could look.
So we've got that. It has 128 megabytes of RAM, that's not a heavy hitter at all. But again, it's the miniest. All right, we don't need a ton of RAM.
Yeah.
It can use, I believe it has a 256 megabyte swap file that it can pull from.
Okay, that makes sense. So
like
a little
right
bit of
out of the
virtual
box,
RAM.
has support for a swap, yeah.
Cool. It's Linux, obviously. It's really basic Linux though, because it is a very tiny one.
OS. That is beyond Linux.
And it has an SSD 202D processor in it, which is a dual core 1.2 gigahertz processor. So again, we're not flexing hard on anybody, but it can do PlayStation games on something this small. I've been playing Legend of Dragoon on it and having a very good time with that. Because the sound, surprisingly, for this little mono speaker is loud as balls. It is loud.
That sounds great.
Oh,
And,
just wait. The custom audio SDL boosts it like 5-6 more decibels.
Oh, crap.
Oh,
And there's a
already,
drop-in speaker replacement. You can get the one of the, I think it's an Oppo phone. There's a speaker replacement part that drops in, no gluing or anything required.
There's a mod already, huh?
There's already a speaker mod, and it's like super loud. And that with the custom audio SDL, I think it's gonna be like twice the volume it's at.
dude, so you're
I've
gonna
had a
blow
couple
grandma out of
people-
the house.
Yeah.
Those speakers. She's gonna be like, Jim,
Yeah.
stop playing the loud music. And then
I've had a
grandma.
couple
Well, I'm a
people
wimp
ask
about
me
that
about
stuff.
D-pad
Yeah.
mods. Have you heard anybody trying a D-pad mod on this yet?
So, to my
get something a
knowledge,
little firmer.
nobody has found any buttons that fit yet. The closest, I think somebody said RGB 10 buttons fit if you file the edges down. Yeah, that's not ideal.
I don't want to be.
Honestly-
I don't want to be filing edges.
Yeah, I've
No
done it
edge
for a
filing.
couple installs where I had to. But I definitely try to avoid that. Sometimes I'll when I was doing the Odroid, I was doing the D-pad mod on that, and I had to click the DMG D-pad. That being said, I love this D-pad. I know it's very divided. Like some people despise it, and some people think it's like the bee's knees. I prefer it to Ambernix D-pads by a mile.
It feels a little bit more responsive, than like the 351P's D-pad or something.
Yeah, it's definitely stiff.
What do you think, Thor?
But I can do Hadoukens consistently.
Yeah,
It's a little mushy for my taste. Just a little bit. But I haven't had any problems with response rate at all.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's
So-
the thing. It might not, I wouldn't say it's the most comfortable, but I definitely, I can't fake a diagonal or if I try, really. It's just
Right.
very precise.
Yeah, it's not like the Q20 or something from Powkitty where it's like you can fit
Yeah.
all four directions at once. You're like,
Mhm.
what is going on? Who am I?
Powkitty. I would love to, I want to know the people behind Powkitty.
Dude, it's a
I've
bunch
been
of
trying
Pow
to
children.
get in direct contact with Powkitty for a year now, and they're just not
Who are
interested.
they?
I don't
Who
believe they
are you
exist.
people? They're AI pounding out.
Yeah, I think
handhelds.
it's just some AI drop shipping products.
Oh, it's a Cheeto Steve AI, I bet. That's why they keep fucking stuff up.
Fucking Cheeto Steve.
Oh,
Oh
there's
my
a
god!
Cheeto Steve
Don't
in the
get me
Discord.
started. There is a dude, and sorry if you listen to the Discord, man. Or listen to the
No,
podcast.
he says he doesn't listen to the podcast, that he doesn't have time for it. And I was like, then why are you called Cheeto Steve?
You have to have heard the podcast because we were just talking about a dude named Cheeto Steve like a week ago, and then some guy on our Discord is named Cheeto Steve, and he's in every channel asking about Bluetooth speakers.
So much.
And he
I
doesn't
asked
wanna
him,
do
I
the
was
show.
like,
Everybody, buddy.
I was like, that's a great name. Do you listen to the podcast? He's like, what podcast? I don't have time for podcasts. I was like, okay. He's like, too busy playing. All right, man.
He spent like
All
half-
love to you, Cheeto Steve. If you're out there, man, don't touch my Odin.
I think that guy might still be the Cheeto Steve. I think that he's like.
You think he's the one
Cow
leaving the
Kitty
fingerprints
Factory.
on your Odin?
I think.
Have you guys like come up with a theory as to what that actually is?
Well, I think it's Cheeto Steve. I think he's in the factory, and he's spreading disinformation. Now he's on the Discord, just like creating chaos.
Oh, do you
Yeah,
think he's like a
uh,
vaccine truther?
I think so. He's afraid of water. I think he has rabies at a minimum. I don't know.
I mean, it might just, if he's made
Every
of Cheetos,
handheld that I've opened up that has any form of like silvering on it, right? Anywhere flat and metal has had a little Chinese thumbprint on it. All right. Every
Oh,
single
yeah.
one.
My Odin
mean-
had just a fingerprint.
Yeah. But like I
remember-
opened up all my 351 devices and the shielding that they have on there, the conductive shielding, every single one, just
Yeah.
one thumbprint right in the damn middle of it. I'm like, they left their mark. That's what it is. They were here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My Game Force Chi had a honking fingerprint on it.
Did it?
But I mean, it adds character.
It does add a character. All right.
As long as it's not on my screen.
We've
So
gotten off
let's
topic
polish
again.
up some features here.
There's a rumble. There is a
rumble,
vibration motor.
which is
Does it
cool.
work?
It does work. Yeah.
And
Feels good.
it has it down here on the bottom. It has a micro SD card slot, a 3.5
Okay.
millimeter headphone jack, and a USB
Okay.
charging port, which is not a
USB-C.
heavy duty USB-C hard
Yeah.
charging port at all. All right, it's like
Yeah.
maximum 5 watts, like 5 volts, 1.
Yeah, it's not even legitimate USB-C.
Okay. It's like the
You can't
RP2,
use a
basically.
C-to-C cable.
No.
Yeah.
But you know what?
It's
You know
gonna
what
freak out.
really got me? All right, and I don't know why I think this is so
Gotcha.
cool in the modern day. It has its own
What?
battery. All right, it has its own Miyoo branded
you can
battery.
swap it
that
out,
comes
right?
out. Yeah.
So it's actually, I believe,
crazy.
it's an aftermarket Samsung battery, and people have already
Really?
tracked down replacements, and they're like $5.
Wow. I just
Yeah.
like that it has the little
But
pull-out tab.
Yeah,
they had the pull-out tab,
Easily
but
pop it out.
it actually has the Miyoo branding on it. Like that's
Yeah.
cool. Like,
and
that's
not
the
for
first
nothing,
time.
the battery life is fantastic. I mean,
It's
for
like 4 hours for like SNES or something like that.
yeah, I mean, somebody did what is I never remember what it's called, like retail mode for Gran Turismo 2
Mhm.
or attract mode. Someone did attract mode for Gran Turismo 2
Randomizer?
and got almost 6 hours.
Wow.
And
Damn.
that's like one of the heaviest PS1 games to run. Like unbelievable.
Really?
Well, it's
I
got
thought Bloody Roar
it's a
2.
1900 milliamp hour battery in it though. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty
Yeah, for this
beefy for
little guy?
something this small. Yeah.
Right.
Not bad.
And I mean, you got to
Something like
figure
the
too.
280V, you know.
Yeah, and it some nice things about it too is like, you know, there's not feature bloat, there's not Wi-Fi, there's not Bluetooth, there's not there's not even a actual GPU. And so when you put all that together, like nothing is really draining the battery but a very modest CPU and a very small old screen.
Yeah.
Well, I know that Stubbs, he needs those retro achievements. He needs those retro achievos. And so the lack of Wi-Fi, I understand that being a little bit off-putting, but I mean, again, this thing is the size of a deck of cards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't need Wi-Fi, and I don't really think it needs Bluetooth. Bluetooth would have been okay, all right, for
Dude,
headphones.
Steve's gonna freak out if he doesn't get Bluetooth in this thing.
People are having perfectly fine luck with Bluetooth audio adapters, like through the headphone
Really?
jack, though.
Are they?
Well, then
So-
there you go. You can still get your jams going.
Yep.
And
There's a little
The
external-
USB port is not data capable though, so Wi-Fi dongles are out of the question.
yeah,
Oh, I was gonna wonder about that. Okay, can
you
you solder
could-
one on? Could you solder one on?
Dude, that's way above my pay grade.
Soldering in Wi-Fi chips, especially if you're doing it on the USB hub itself, it doesn't sound like there's a USB hub inside of it. It sounds like it's just charging only. So
Okay.
Someone said that all that needed to be added for data transfer was like 2 resistors. I don't know much about hard electronics, so I don't know how true that is.
I took it apart just to take a look at it, but I didn't do any tracing on it or anything like that. I do know is that something this small, you could get an aftermarket Bluetooth chip and solder it to the 3.5 millimeter jack if you really need Bluetooth audio. Because all you need, those chips will pair with anything.
Yeah.
You just need to be able to put
they wouldn't need a driver or anything, right?
Right. No.
Yeah.
Just put it into pairing mode somehow with like a touch sensor or something, and then put it on your power hub and connect it to the audio, and then you're good. You're good to go. But that's a lot of modding for something this tiny, you know.
Yeah. You know what I've done, guys? I have put all my ROMs on the Mini that don't have retro achievements even possible. You know, those games that I play on other devices.
How do you even sort those out?
Through
very
intense
carefully.
OCD and like just neuroticism. Okay.
Oh, dude, I get it, man. I love nothing more than hyper organizing stuff.
Hyper organizing in Launchbox on my PC, man. Because in Launchbox, it quickly tells you if there's retro achievements right there.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, has retro achievements in this playlist. Does not have retro achievements in this playlist. All the ones that don't, dude, they're Wi-Fi less basically no matter what device I play them on, because I'm not going to have that ability. All of those go on the Mini, and immediately I'm like, all right, I don't need Wi-Fi because these particular games, like, it's the same experience no matter what. And I'm stoked for that, man. Like, I'm stoked for camping with this little guy. Yeah. And it's so damn cute. All right. Sorry,
I'm currently using it to thin out ROM sets. I'm going through I have the whole Codemasters collection, and I'm like going through them one by one and seeing how terrible each one is.
Nice.
I love doing that. Just playing a few seconds, like maybe
just a few seconds, just be like, is this something I'll ever come back to?
Well, 1, does it run at all? 2, is it completely just garbage? Like, how long does it take you to get into the game? And number 3, am I going to enjoy it?
And number 4, is it secretly a mahjong game?
Is it secretly a mahjong game, or like
that happens to me way too often?
Yeah, they're all disguised, or a horse.
You boot up a game that has a wicked cool name, and it's just mahjong.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I'm never gonna learn this. Stop trying to make mahjong a thing.
I'm gonna give you up. Speaking of which, everybody, Jim is our podcast editor lately too. So
yeah, he's been mastering our audio. Thank you so much for that, man. By the way,
you
do.
You're what I'm here for.
You do a really good job.
You're never gonna hear from me again once I get that Retroid Pocket 2, though.
I heard the weather delayed it. I heard the weather.
Yeah, now it's coming tomorrow. I call bullshit because I got an update that was like, it's at your local UPS facility and it's out for delivery tomorrow.
UPS guy is out there. He popped that thing open. He's playing GameCube on that thing right now. Yeah.
Get my hopes up. Hopes up. Tony Hawk 3. Can I play full speed?
On the RP2 Plus?
Yeah.
3
plays not the PS1 version.
Okay. What do you
either
want?
PS2 or GameCube?
Oh. PS2 you might get it. GameCube's tough on that engine. Some of the other Tony Hawks should work a little bit better. I would play Tony Hawk 3.
Aim for the Odin, dude. Aim for the Odin.
I would play Tony Hawk 3.
I'm going to get one. I had pre-ordered the Lite
on the N64.
And then I regretted getting the Lite, and I canceled, and then I never reordered because I'm stupid. I truly...
You're not stupid.
The cynic in me was like, this is vaporware. We're never going to do this.
Smart guy. I appreciate you.
Smart guy who doesn't have a Odin.
Well,
you'll get there.
That's just
I believe in you.
There's no bad gyms, just bad gym decisions. Okay.
Oh yeah,
we tell my kids all the time. So.
Oh well. All right, let's get some features here.
Yeah, let's get in.
So, big feature right here that I wouldn't have expected on something so small is L2R2 on the back.
Functional really cool ones.
Yeah, functional L2R2.
I think it's actually
not analog or anything, but it
no,
works.
But they're pretty comfy, and unlike the B90, they work.
Yeah. And then something that a lot of Android handhelds
V90. Oh,
for whatever reason don't even have is it actually has a little home button right there in the middle. I don't understand that. I don't understand why Android consoles don't have fucking home buttons, but this one does, and it's just limited.
I don't understand why any emulation handheld would not think to include one more button than a controller needs.
Yeah.
Let's just do it. I mean, the 280V even has L2R2.
Yeah.
I really liked my 280V. The only thing I hated about it was
what do you hate?
Shoulder buttons. I could not use them. My hands cramped up like as soon as I had to use them.
Yeah, it's kind of like a grippy claw, like.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, the Mini's shoulder buttons are not like the most comfortable buttons on earth, but they work. Like you can get to them pretty easily, and it's easy to get your hand in a position to use them.
And I'm going to throw this out there too. I actually like the little scroll wheel volume button on the side. I think that was a nice touch.
I like that too. I like that
instead of having the digital buttons.
Yeah, instead of having the push up and down buttons, those are okay. It's nice because sometimes you can remap those buttons, but there's just something about getting that exact volume you want with the little wheel, like with the menu music.
I always get psyched when a handheld has that.
Straight DMG vibes, straight Game Boy DMG vibes.
Yeah, that's nice.
So we were talking about those buttons be a little hard to reach, and I do have to play mine like this, right? Because that's the only way to get to him with the big ass hands.
It looks like you're like planning something. You're just like, yes,
I do like this.
It's Mini.
I
do like playing
like the padding here for these two.
Oh boy,
yeah, I
can't. And then the tips for these two.
I'm gonna take over the world later.
One thing I've never ever used. So I've been emulating for fucking ever. Right. And I am still like.
How many years? How many years have you been emulating? Give me an exact number.
Oh man.
Right now.
Emulating like with handhelds
like
back. The Revo K101 I think was my first. Besides my PSP Fat, the Revo K101 was my first emulation handheld. I mean that was
12.
Yeah, that broke things wide open because that was like just a super affordable Game Boy Advance clone with a flash cart. Like,
rad.
It's amazing. So that was
still
cool.
making those.
But what's funny, they have like a version 2 that came out of nowhere. But I never ever used fast forward until the Mini. And
really?
It's like a total. I know I'm like speaking to the masses here who are like, you don't use fast forward. But dude, especially in Minish Cap.
Yeah.
You gotta use fast forward. Nobody has time to sit through role-playing games.
Dude, I've never.
Storybook hour,
I also don't use save states, and Minish Cap is making me rethink that.
I'm all save states and all fast forward. I saw on the wiki for Onion, you say don't use fast forward for like PS1 games because it slows down the game. I want to call bullshit on that though. I got to ask about it because in my experience, Rewind does add lag to PS1 or any system in RetroArch, but fast forward usually has never bogged down performance at all.
So there was previously there was a huge memory leak issue on the Mini. It was really easy to notice if you like open 10 games consecutively and like closed them, like 10 different games. It would make the UI crash and the screen flip upside down. We recently, the next version of Onion, and I'm sure all custom firmwares going forward, they've patched that leak. So I think it's fine now, but what we were seeing was if you fast forwarded on PS1 for more than a few seconds, when you stopped fast forwarding, it would just turn it into a fucking slideshow. Like it was crazy.
Wow.
And that's only fixed with the memory leak fix itself?
I don't fast forward on PlayStation because I basically just play Tony Hawk.
Well, what if you turn off the SME checks? The SME there's a check, there's a speed hack. There you can turn off.
I haven't really bothered with the speed hacks because I came across somebody talking on one of the old XDA. It was an old XDA thread about like old back when RetroArch kind of first hit Android, and one of the things people were talking about with the PCSX core was how to squeeze the most performance out was to set the clock speed to 85, and I'd never seen that tip anywhere. It's always 57 by default.
Yeah.
And we did it, and it was like instant night and day. It was like suddenly every game ran basically full speed, so we didn't really fuck with any of the speed hacks just to we didn't really need to. It seemed unnecessary. Even some games work at the enhanced resolution at full speed.
And then for PS1, you're suggesting to use this particular BIOS file increases
Yeah,
performance?
so this is another thing. And this is honestly for any handheld you use. I recently learned about this. That BIOS file, the PSX on PSP BIOS, was made by Sony for the PSP, and it strips it of all superfluous features. So there's no
that's cool.
CD audio player. There's no
what?
Yeah, there's no support for like really random third-party peripherals and stuff like that. So it's a really lean BIOS file.
Jim,
and
did you just bump PS1 performance across the board for all of my handhelds?
Yeah, I switched all of my handhelds. I switched to that BIOS now. And a fun hack you can do that somebody pointed out, I think it was Benji, you can actually delete all of your other BIOS files, because sometimes it might look for the SCH 1001 BIOS.
Right.
So you just copy the PSX on PSP BIOS multiple times and just rename it to all the different BIOS names.
Oh.
And it works. Works like a charm.
Seriously.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to try this.
I'll be giving that a try.
Dude, it's noticeable.
Wow.
I mean, look,
I was going to call you out on
that.
I'm like, what in the world? Using
try Tekken 3 with that BIOS, and you'll be like,
doesn't do anything. I'm not going to be
Tekken
playing
3 is 60 frames per second on something as small as
just shut your beautiful mouth. Okay. All right.
So let's see what's next.
So, now. All right. Or what's next?
Let's talk about OS updates and custom firmware. We've hit on that quite a bit already, but is Miyoo, are they going to be releasing any more updates that you know about?
Allegedly, they have one planned for after Chinese New Year. So far, they've been pretty good. I mean, they haven't released Source, which big shock. But they have kind of met us halfway, right? Like, so Sean was the first one to kind of figure out how to exploit the updater to flash a theme before Miyoo supported theming. And so we were doing, so the first version of Onion relied on that exploit because there was no stock theme support. And then I don't know if they like lurk the discords or what, but the next update featured full theme support using basically the same setup that we had. And so they just made things easier for us silently. And so they've been like, most of like the glaring issues from the first couple releases are polished out. Like when it first came out, you couldn't change your aspect ratio. Everything was stretched. They fixed that. They're using some weird hacky SDL. I don't understand it at all. But like instead of providing source, the only example they provided the real devs was like the 2048 core.
Okay. Like that rando RetroArch.
Yeah. Or I don't think it was useful Sudoku, at all.
The Sudoku puzzle or something.
Yeah. The number game. So like folks like Sean and Eggs, the same people who really like push the Trim UI ahead. Those people are basically just reverse engineering this thing.
That is so cool. Up. That is so freaking cool.
It's wild, dude. I mean, Sean, so I have an alpha of Union on this. And so right now it only supports Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, and Pokemon Mini. But he had to write like screen drivers, audio drivers, everything from the ground up.
Man.
Make it work. It's crazy.
That's so much work.
And it's awesome.
So Union is going to be a completely different OS then. It's going to be
so Union is I don't know if either of you guys have the Trim UI, but Sean wrote a custom launcher for the Trim UI that kind of took the aesthetic they were going for, but made a much more like streamlined, minimal text-based menu system. And it's super fast. It's super seamless. And so what he's doing with the Union is he's porting that to multiple platforms, so you can just move the SD card between devices and not have to worry about formatting and installing and all that.
Oh, cool. So it's actually booting from the SD then?
Yeah, it's fully booting from the SD. It's really cool. Let me see.
Let's take a little peek. Let's take a little peek at it.
A little peeky doodle.
Yeah. Because the alpha is publicly available, so I don't think I'm showing off anything I shouldn't be.
I still want to see it. I know we had Taki's sort of little custom version.
Oh,
and
this is like
we have OnionOS, and now
well,
we
because
have
the thing, Onion and Taki's thing, and this is not like, you know, to disparage Taki or myself or the people who have worked on Onion, but like we're basically playing in the sandbox Miyoo gave us.
Yeah.
right. You're skinning and theming.
We're skinning,
the stock.
theming, we're using scripts to kind of get around the shortcomings of the device.
Right.
Something like Union
I remember.
is just a full.
It's like
One of
assembly
the first
versus
things I asked you about it was,
basic.
is it an actual custom firmware or if it's an overlay?
Yeah, exactly. So this
So
is
Onion is an overlay. Union
Huh.
is an actual custom firmware. Right?
Union is a full-blown custom firmware.
rad. That is,
And it's
that sounds
really,
pretty
really
slick. Can you
clean.
launch a game?
Yeah.
Ooh.
And so right now in alpha, it only supports integer scaling. But this is my favorite part. Look at this menu.
Not integer scaling.
Look at this menu.
I never care about pixel scaling too much.
And so if you
Where
do like a
pixels is
save,
important.
so if you do a save, it'll show you like the little thumbnail for your save states, which I love. And then if you hit like
That is cool.
advanced, you hit like advanced, it brings you to the emulator's actual settings, but it hides basically everything behind this beautiful, just like seamless system.
And these are standalones, right? Because Sean,
He's all about
supporter of
standalones,
RetroArch, right?
and he, you know, he's about the standalones, but you never know that it's a standalone because, you know, unless you're touching those settings, you're just using this perfectly like seamless UI. It's really great.
I'm
That's
excited
something to look
for
excited
it.
for.
It's funny, you know, I've been saying it since day one. Like, so when we first released Onion, when it was literally just like some cleaned up config files and a theme, we pitched it as like just a stopgap, like between release and when stuff like Union came out. And I'm sticking to that. I mean, when Onion has already gone way further than I ever thought, but like when Union is out and it's fully stable, I'm using the hell out of that. Like I'm not using Onion anymore.
I get
Other people might like. People like themes. People like that it has 48 systems, but like
you should.
That's not for me.
You should always use.
I have 8 systems on it.
Yeah, you should always use whatever is the best available. Without
exactly. And I think you know, different needs for everybody.
Right.
But I
get
like Thor said, I'm using like a dozen systems.
Now I get why you wanted to. I get why you wanted to name it something different now, because Union is an OS coming to the Miyoo. Because you had mentioned that, and I thought that Union was going to be for a different device, and I was like, no, use Onion. Use Onion.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
I've said over and over, like I felt bad about even using the name, but Sean came up with the name. But I think even he, like, it got away from us, you know, it just kind of took off.
I like it.
I mean, it's on the Mini itself is on fire right now, and people are desperate to get custom firmware for most devices in general. You know, even if it just ekes out a tiny bit of performance, they'll go through a whole flashing thing and get involved in the community and all that stuff.
They're all over it.
Yeah.
So,
well,
it's a funny little device, and I don't think it's going to last long. I think, you know, it's a finite supply because they're using those upcycled BlackBerry parts.
Yeah.
And an overwhelming demand. So I have a feeling it's going to come and go. And then the people who got them are going to be psyched. You know, like, I got one.
In my opinion, right now, for that price range, there's nothing that can touch it.
Nothing close.
Yeah, for like what, $60 now?
60 shipped.
60, 70. Yeah.
I mean, what can you get for that, right? I mean, well, the RP2, the original RP2 is what, 70 now?
Yeah, I mean, you can even get 280V. Because 280Vs are overpriced. They're like,
I feel like they've gone bucks.
Yeah, they're like $90, $100 right now. And I like it. This thing's cute, but dude, the Mini, just for the value, and the screen is so stupid good for what it is.
Although I gotta say, I really like the 280V screen, especially with its weird pixels.
Yeah,
I think it looks really nice because it's got It's got that really weird resolution where it's
OCA
actually like,
laminated, right?
Yeah, but I think it's also like instead of being 240 pixels tall, it's technically 480. And it's just a really weird pixel layout.
That's kind of fun, right?
Yeah, but I think it looks really good, and it makes games scale surprisingly good on such a low res screen.
So you think the Mini will be a flash in the pan just because of supply?
I think, well, not just supply, but because none of these companies really seem to like hold on to an item for long. Like the S30, Miyoo's last awesome device. How long did that stick around?
It's hard to find.
It's hard to find now, and the ones on AliExpress are like $85.
Not when we have the Mini. No, sir.
Or I saw that face. Were you not an S30 fan? Mm-mm. I miss mine, and I only missed it because
I wasn't a big fan of BitBoy's offerings in general.
Dude, I'm just comparing.
I liked the BitBoy. I hated the BitBoy firmware. I hated every iteration of it, and that's, again, not to disparage the awesome people who did outstanding work to like bring it to where it got to, but
BitBoy
it just never was like, I never liked it.
BitBoy 3.5 had that Miyoo custom firmware that finally hit it, and that was like, okay, this is usable now. This is much better,
usable. You know? But it also had that stupid, it was super easy to hit 2 keys to delete an entry in your G menu, and then you had to go rebuild it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I think that's probably a big part of it from me. Obviously, we have the Odin and things like that, things that don't need a lot of tweaking out of the box. But for so long, all of these devices have needed community developers to fuck with them to get them right, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, we worked on Lineage for the RP2 for 6 months before we released something, and we had source, but damn, that was a pain in the butt, tracking down documentation and all that stuff. And with this, I mean, you guys put out an overlay that instantaneously made the entire user experience 100 times
way
better. Just more fun, you know.
And I love the people working on it continue to blow me away because like just wait till you see what's coming. Like we got a theme switcher now.
Ooh,
like a theme gallery built in. So that's really cool.
It doesn't need to do the restart.
Built-in one's nice.
It still has to do the restart because it has to reload main UI. But
but they're not
now instead of each theme being a standalone app. Yeah, now it's just a gallery.
Okay. I can fuck with that, man.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what don't we dislike about it? Or what don't we like about it? Is there anything in particular? I can't really knock a whole lot for the price.
I love my aesthetic on it. But I guess functionality-wise, it may have been better in a horizontal form factor.
I could see that.
And it wouldn't be much different in size.
I'd be down with the horizontal version of it, I think.
I think it'd be a little more ergonomic.
It would be, and I wish we could get a left joystick. Just one joystick also.
Like instead of a D-pad? Or
No.
I mean, where are you going to put it?
I mean,
if it were like a DS nub,
well,
I could get like a DS nub.
We could do a nubbin. We could do a little nubbin.
Put it on the side. You would have enough space for a top joystick and the D-pad.
Oh yeah, if it were horizontal, you could absolutely.
You say put a joystick on top of the device, Thor? Like on the top? Because that'd be really weird.
If like you'd extend the side out a little bit like that over here, right? And
on the back,
joystick up top and the D-pad down below.
Kind of like there's the 3DS has that like attachment that adds a big fucking pump to one side of it.
No.
You've seen that, right?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It's so stupid.
No, I don't want it.
Oh
well. I don't want that.
What's your guys' least favorite video game console accessory of all time?
Probably
I'll go first. PS2 iToy.
iToy was pretty bad. This is gonna ruffle some feathers. I fucking hated the nunchuck accessory for the Wii. I thought that was because it just, you were tethered. You have this one motion thing, and then this does nothing. All right.
Yeah.
But you're tethered. So it has the joystick on it that you should have had on the Wiimote. And then so you're playing Mario Galaxy, aiming at the screen to pick up those little pebbles or whatever the fuck. And it just, I don't think it was correct. I think they could have done something much better. I think they both could have been wireless, you know? Or like a Wiimote with that built into it, but just the nunchuck itself. And then they went with white, and it got yellow like that. I mean, just from nasty hands from kids, and, you know, just not my thing.
You know what?
I wish they would have done better. What about you, Stubbs?
Samba de Amigo on Dreamcast, those maracas, where you're like, Samba! Those were just, they didn't register right. And I just wish they had this song on Samba de
Sometimes you get Dreamcast Samba, and sometimes you get Donkey Konga.
Yeah, Donkey Konga as well. Those accessories, some of them were okay. Dance
I
Dance
like Donkey
Revolution was
Konga.
okay.
I thought it was fine.
Donkey Konga was better than Samba, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, there was one really bad one that I'm trying to remember for PS1.
What about Seaman for Dreamcast?
Oh man, the
That was a little
N64
rough.
microphone for Hey You Pikachu was a pretty bad accessory too.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Wow.
'cause
Yeah,
it
that
was
was
garbage.
bad. Yeah.
Sorry, I just can't stop. I can't stop jams right now.
When I made that song, I was working on other Onion stuff, and it went like 2 hours before I realized that it was still playing on a loop. I was just like in a zone.
Well, I could leave this on all night. This is the experience to me. This is the Miyoo Mini is this song to me.
I think when I start filming handhelds, when I get to like the sexy like showcase part where it's like the slow panning camera,
Just
I'm
do
just gonna play this.
the porn noir theme, which is what it's
Yeah.
called, by the way. I sent Jim. I did a smooth rap over it, and I sent it to Jim on Discord. I was like,
saved it
"This is what I
forever.
did with my evening," and he's like, "Oh, thank you. I'm saving this
Make
for
sure
all
you
time."
make sure you
As
put
he
that in the
blocks me,
podcast
as he
channel
moves to block me on the.
if it's relatively safe for work.
I don't think it is.
It's not safe for anybody to listen to. But never mind about that. I also want to say that I love the email address you have for the project. Onions aren't gross at Gmail. That's like, I like that.
That's a little bust on
little-
Russ from Retro Game Core.
like, hey Russ, we're thinking about you. And then Russ did an awesome video about Onion, which I watched today to get prepped for this video because I haven't used it a bunch yet. But his coverage was awesome, and I think he explained it really well. And
He did.
he even used. I saw in the guide he used my picture. Like,
Yeah.
I gotta slap
Yeah, he
tap
did.
myself in the back. My picture I took of the Miyoo in the light box
Goddamn good picture.
with my Pixel 6 phone, which the Pixel 6 did all the work, but that was my peak like hobbyist photography moment. I was like, I'm never gonna do better than that photo. Use
That's
it for everything.
That's the same picture I'm going to use that I already made for the thumbnail for this episode.
It's such a good picture.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I decided I'm gonna keep making music for the Miyoo Mini themes, and I'm just gonna Trojan horse my music into the world. Through
that's the way to do it, man.
I've been making music for like 12 years and no one gives a shit. And as soon as I pop it into a fucking little
Everyone
Game Boy
hears it.
ripoff, people are like, "Oh,
That's all I want to hear." Jim, you and I were talking about making a song for the podcast.
I know, I'm
the
such
new
a
podcast
slacker.
intro. Well, we got to get on that because that's like probably more people will hear our music through that intro than they ever would, right? Through like Bandcamp or
Oh,
something.
Russ used 2
I
of my
saw that.
songs on his videos, and
Yeah.
those
Sounded-
combined streams are more than I've ever had in my life.
It's amazing. Music promotion through retro gaming.
Well, thanks, Russ. We love you.
Thank you, Russ. You look
Russ
great.
is good people.
Oh
Good
man.
guy. Great.
Well,
I'm
guy.
actually pretty disappointed. I was hoping to
Guys
do a
both
cat
cat
break
people.
on this podcast.
Where's your cat, dude? Where's
So,
your cat?
Pizza is right there.
Pizza. Hey, pizza.
He is very
Little
sleepy.
pepperoni.
And
Take a little cat
Tiberius is out in the living room.
Oh, what a fluffy tabby.
My big fat baby. That's what I call him.
I love those. I don't like cats because they make me sneeze, but
I know I poisoned you over the mail.
dude, you sent me a Bit Boy filled with cat hair, and like my eyes were watering up, and I was like, Jim.
Is that the Bit Boy that inexplicably smells like mint?
It might be Prism Pack has it now. So Prism.
Okay, I
Prism
bought it
Pack
from somebody,
listening,
and the case they sent it in
was the
was
case
like an
smell
old
like mint.
gum case.
It's filled with cat hair. I pulled out all
Like
the
an
cat hair
Altoids
from
tin
Prism
or
Pack
something. Like
before
It was
sending
like extra gum.
ooh.
oh
And,
my god.
and the person who
Dear
sold it to me
God.
was like, "You are never going to get the smell of mint out of this." Just so you know.
I mean, it smelled. It was definitely allergy filled, but it was really fresh smelling.
I think I'm going to use
I
that as the episode title. You're never going to get mint out of this.
Maybe you could run MintOS on this.
Mint OS.
So, guys,
Oh, well.
what's our final conclusion on this device? What do we think about the Miyoo Mini? I mean,
For the price range, buy it. If you're in that
Yeah.
sub
buy it.
$70,
Hot.
this is the way to go.
Hot,
I think.
hot. Limited
If you
stock.
go places, I don't know why or how you would, but if you do, this is the to-go device.
So you recommend it over the 280V at this point?
Oh yeah, 100%. I have both, and I haven't touched my 280V since this came.
Yeah, I use both also, or I have both, and the 280V all of a sudden is cramping my hands and not fun and feels kind of chunky, and the D-pad feels just a little bit there all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, because I'm used to the Miyoo Mini, which fixed all those things, and it's just much easier to hold, and the screen's better.
Yeah, I did the metal upgrade on my 280V, and I regretted it because it added so much weight to it.
Dude, yeah.
And now I want it for the Mini.
You want to do a metal case on the Mini?
That'd be fun, though.
My retro game case already posted pictures of their prototypes. They're coming, they're coming down the pipeline. That's going to be a pain in the ass, though, because these screens are a fucking nightmare to take out.
Yeah, I can believe
the ribbon cable is like... The ribbon cable is made of dust. Like it's...
Yeah. I did a full disassembly on this one that I got from Stubbs. First thing, like I barely even started it up. And that ribbon cable that they have on there is extremely thin.
Yeah, one of the worst I've ever seen.
Extremely thin, so...
Just too much.
Yeah, I'm not taking mine apart again until I get the metal case and the speaker drop in, and I'll do both in one.
Yeah.
Yeah, throw some videos up on the channel or something.
Yeah, if and when the fucking metal cases come.
Yep. All right, well,
thanks everybody for joining in with us again. Jim, thank you so much for coming on and talking Miyoo. Yeah, there he is. Dip. This was a great one. I really enjoyed this one. Yeah. Yeah,
it's fun. You know, we're trying to do this new like deep dive format, but we also really wanted to talk to Jim and like just talk about Miyoo Mini. So
because Jim's a goddamn delight. Let's be real here.
He's a delight, and Onion's a delight. So we kind of like just weaved it all together for you. Jim, we want to get you back on. You're editing the podcast now for us and helping us out on that side of things. So like, let's do more of these.
Well, I'm working on 2 things, presumably for your guys' channel, but if not, they'll go wherever. But there's the what the fuck is this, which is the checking on hours. I guess I should say hours. The families. I live my life a quarter mile at a time. Okay. I'm working on a few videos kind of showcasing just really obscure handhelds that like nobody... Pointless videos because they're not ones that people are going to seek out and buy.
I'm excited for the TRDR. That's good.
I'm really excited for the TRDR. The Turder ships in 5 days allegedly.
Soldier Boy Turder.
And then I'm going to do the skateboarding video game history documentary.
Yeah, Tony Hawk.
I'm going to start streaming that very soon. I just got OpenEMU installed on desktop.
Yeah.
And we're going to have some fun with it. There are so many more skateboarding games than you guys can imagine, and they're so fucking terrible for the most part. And I'm so excited.
I want to hear all about. God, there was one for PS1 that I loved. It was horrible. Grind Session.
Grind Session's not so bad. Grind Session's not so bad.
Like
it has basically the same controls as Tony Hawk, and it plays decently.
A little more slippery though.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. It's not the same engine or anything.
A little slippy TM2 feel.
The worst ones were, for PS1 specifically, the worst ones were Extreme Sports by EA. Terrible game. It's like a rails racer, and it's awful. And then Street Skater is like...
Oh, I played Street Skater.
Awful game. Awful game.
Dude, I played Street Skater 2 was a great game.
Street Skater 2 was a lot better than the first one. Yeah. Still not good.
Good music.
But there was also the lost PS1 skateboarding gem is without a doubt Thrasher Skate and Destroy by Rockstar.
I never played that one. All right, I'll check it out.
It's a Rockstar. It's Rockstar when they were hungry. It's good. It's got way different controls from anything you've played before or since.
You mean before they could make $1 billion off of one video game?
Yeah. It's really scrappy game, and it's just awesome.
Well, I'll check it out. Thank you for coming on today.
Yes.
And I'll catch it.
There it is.
Yeah, there we go.
I feel how much.
Oh man, this was a good one. Thank you again, Jim. Stubbs.
Thank you guys.
I'm so excited that we all have minis finally, right? After everything.
We all have minis.
We all have
My
minis.
first one broke a
And
little bit.
unlike most of these handhelds, I
Fixed it.
won't be selling it anytime soon.
Wait a
right?
minute, guys. Wait a minute, guys. We almost forgot. We have a giveaway. How did we not mention this?
Oh,
This episode
crap.
is a
We do
giveaway.
have a giveaway.
We're giving away my mini that Thor received and like buffed up, made it all fancy. And
Yeah, that's right. So what we're going to do, okay, is we got the mini. This is it right here. This
Yeah.
is the special mini, all right?
yeah.
If you listen to this episode, DM me, all right? And the code word is Retro Handhelds Mini, all right? Just DM me that, and you're going to be entered into a drawing to win Stubbs's former Miyoo Mini.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
Next
rounds
time
included.
I'm on,
No rounds
I'll give
included.
away
Don't
my
ask.
chicken boy.
Wait, what'd you
Chicken
say?
boy.
What'd you say,
I
Jim?
want the chicken
Chicken
boy.
boy?
I said next time I'm on, I'll give away the chicken boy.
Yes. I have a chicken boy too. We need to get Thor a chicken boy. I've been sending him Tamagotchis all year, but just no.
I don't think the chicken boy is as bad as everyone else does, but that's
Dude,
It
I
looks
was
awful.
playing it.
It just looks
I was
terrible.
playing it with my daughter yesterday, and she was like, "This is fun." And she was like,
the
she likes
screen
the
is
chicken game.
delightfully bright.
Yeah, it's great. The battery life just sucks ass. That's all.
I mean, it's a keychain game.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks so
Yep.
much for joining us on BRB Gaming. This is Stubbs and
Thor
And Jim,
and
I got to
Yeah.
do that time.
and them, yeah.
yeah, you did great.
Those
Great bud.
guys. All right, we'll catch y'all later. Bye.
Bye.